Beautiful friends, beautiful souls, I hope that you are having an amazing day. It is Tuesday, March 26, 2024, and it is time to vibe with your tribe and feed that prediction addiction. Yeah, baby, it's going to be a good one. The first eclipse, the lunar eclipse, just rang in a few days ago, kicking off these very intense energies of this very rare, somewhat of biblical proportion, eclipse season of 2024. So I say to you, my beautiful friends, hold on tight because the fastest roller coaster in the world is about to take off and it's going to be wild. So if you are at all concerned, whether you are or were not, or are not concerned with all the strange and weird things surrounding and the warnings surrounding the upcoming April 8th eclipse, such as the National Guard being called into 13 states where the eclipse is going to pass over. Kind of crazy, huh? And now it's actually more than just April 8th eclipse. Yes. A recent press article is putting out a series of dates, not just the 8th of April, a series of dates in which people should be all very mindful and alert of potential events. What kind of events exactly? This would actually make total sense if you go back to my March prediction video and also previous predictions, going back even to the New Year's Day predictions that I did. You will remember Spirit telling us that this lunar eclipse that kicked in on March 25th would also kick in the first of a series of huge tsunami waves of energy pouring over our planet. It's going to be interesting. Just when you think things are calming down, baby. They're about to flare up like never before, or they just did flare up, actually, on the lunar eclipse. And it's going to continue, friends. Not just till April 8th, but throughout the whole month of April. And I'm going to tell you today about this new warning in this series of dates that aligns perfectly with previous predictions, which is really interesting. So, as if the airlines didn't have enough problems already, delays, cancellations, upset flyers, soon they're apparently about to upset even more people. But how exactly? How could they possibly upset more people? Well, I'm going to tell you about their recent warning and a review of some of the past predictions revolved around air travel. Very, very important stuff, friends. Several past predictions all weave together as one in that web of darkness. A single reality became a sad reality, actually, not a single reality, a sad reality on all dates, March 22nd. A date Spirit warned us about, did they not? A date that Spirit warned us about, and in past predictions, I warned Moscow of a coming attack. And a separate prediction from that one, I saw visions of a Pow Pow event taking place at a concert or a music festival. I saw that once before in the past, and it happened a month later in Israel. Then Spirit just recently told us it was going to happen at a concert or a music festival. There would be multiple. And sadly, by now, you know that more than 160 people have been unalived at the tragic event that took place in Moscow, Russia. So are there similar events that could potentially happen in the near future, especially here in the United States and other countries who will be in the shadow of the April 8th eclipse? It's not just United States, it's going over Mexico, part of Canada. And more importantly, is the group that's claiming responsibility for the tragedy that happened in Moscow really the culprits in this horrific, senseless attack? What are you asking? What's your intuition tell you? I'm going to tell you what the Spirit's telling me in a little bit today. So, are you aware of the Bible prophecy and the story revolved around the red heifer? The red heifer sacrifice, actually, is what it's referred to. And how this actually relates to the rebuilding of Solomon's temple? Are you aware that Israel now possesses 5 red heifers? So what exactly does that mean? Does it mean anything? And how does this relate to some of my past visions and predictions? And will the temple really be rebuilt as the Bible prophecy says it will? I have no doubt it will. But when exactly? Will that be in our lifetimes? And how would that possibly be related to one of my predictions revolved around the Mecca and the Temple Mount? Remember those predictions? Yeah, you may not, but I'll touch base on them again today. Crazy and interesting stuff today, friends. Crazy, interesting stuff, as always. So with all those strange and crazy things that are happening, all the strange warnings and strange events, and how another warning has just gone out to our friends in Texas. Our poor friends in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, they say. Even their cowboy hats. So I told you in the past, Spirit told us that they were a targeted state. What's that mean exactly? And what's this big warning that just went out to Texas? They are actually warning of coming power outages. But why exactly? And will there actually be power outages in Texas and other places as well? What's all the hype about? I'm going to talk about that hype and what you need to know to be prepared and not to be scared. Today, I will explain. So the water crisis Spirit told us about was a couple years ago, at least 2 years ago in World Predictions. I can't remember if might even go back to 2017 World Predictions. And some predictions, some things take longer to happen in series of the way they happen. So Spirit told us about water wars. And remember what Nostradamus said, water would become worth its weight in gold. And water is a big deal. I know in my little community, our well just dried up. That's a big deal. And there's no reason for it, which is really interesting. Not only that, there's a huge water crisis happening in Mexico right now. What is that going to bring? And how is this going to lead to water conflicts, along with more resignations of leaders that just happened, by the way, if you haven't noticed, including the CEO of Boeing, Bon Voyage. So just as Spirit told us we would witness this year. Remember? So many drops in power, a record-breaking number, the most ever in history, and ever. So we're beginning to see it lead to that right now. And why was Sean P. Diddy Combs' houses raided by the feds? Actually, it gets worse. It was raided by Homeland Security. That's some serious stuff right there, friends. And is he guilty of something horrific? Just as Spirit said we would witness. Remember, Spirit said we would witness celebrity arrests. And I didn't realize it until I looked up because someone sent me this story in the comments. And I looked up and I didn't even realize he was arrested. Or maybe I do. I don't remember. Back in January. So that would make sense to Spirit telling us celebrity arrests. We've seen it happen with, what's his name? I can't think of his name. With the movie and the whole set of the movie. I prefer not to remember his name, actually. So, yeah. So is anything going to come out of this with Sean P. Diddy Combs? And who could actually be next? And is he really guilty? Well, innocent until proven guilty, they say. I talked about a bridge collapse last year, actually. And I believe it was last year. And this morning, early morning hours on the East Coast, a freight ship literally took out the bridge, the main bridge in Maryland, connecting 695 Interstate Highway. So was it an accident? Or is this actually preparation for an attack? An attack that could happen in Baltimore? You're going to not want to miss this, especially if you are in Baltimore. We're going to talk about all this, a ban and boycott of Tyson Foods, and of course, a few new predictions on this episode number 110 of Tuesday's Prediction Update. And you all know what time it is.
It's tea time, baby.
Beautiful friends, beautiful souls, once again, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. I say Satnam, welcome, and hola to all of you. Again, it is Tuesday, March 26, 2024, and this is episode 109 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Updates. And if you're new here, you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, and what I believe, and many of our subscribers, of course, that's why they subscribe, believe is great content, then you want to vibe with the tribe and smash that there subscribe. Down below in the description, you'll find the link to my newsletter. A new newsletter for April with everything about the astrology, numerology, each and every month is put out. So sign up, it's for free. You will see all the content that's put out every month so you don't miss any great footage and great predictions. Also, inspirational messages, upcoming classes, and often put in discounts for private sessions. And if you're interested in private sessions or anything related to that, you can go to josephtittel.com or spiritmanjt.com. Whatever's easier. It'll take you to the same place, and the last name is spelled E-L, not L-E. Also down below, you'll find the links to my PayPal, Chat Cash, or not Chat Cash. Chat Cash is on here, right? PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. That's what I was going to say. And also, if you are really considering, and you might want to, transferring your IRAs and all over into gold and being backed by gold. Look at the price of gold. It's skyrocketing. You're going to want to jump aboard. Down below in the link, there's a little link down there that you can click on and get free information on how you can do so. And in doing so, of course, all this helps to benefit this content, this channel, and helps provide all this free content to everybody that watches, which I appreciate you for doing. And if you are new here, or even if you're not, and you like the content, please do me a huge favor and hit that there love button. That's the one that looks like this with the thumbs up. It helps the channel, helps this information get out to others, and it'll help this content pop up on your feed in case you don't miss anything. Because sometimes people don't get their notifications. There's many channels I don't get notifications for. There's many channels that disappeared off my feed completely. One of the things that I watch Redacted. It's like the news source that I watch. And I always hit the like button on every video, even if I don't like it, because I know it benefits people and they take a lot of time and energy to put all that content out for others. It's just showing appreciation. The opposite of that is just showing non-appreciation. And everybody should be appreciated. You're appreciated. I appreciate each and every one of you. So I totally had a brain fart right there, what I was saying. But yeah, everything's down below in the description. Everything. So check it out. All the links to my social media and so forth. Also, I want to thank all my supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. You can find me on Spotify under Spirit Speaks Predictions. Please give me a follow there. I thank the supporters who send, I don't know what they call it on Spotify, Chat Cash or whatever, but the support I appreciate. You can join the YT community down below and really vibe with the tribe as a monthly supporter. Or better yet, hang out with us on the Awaken Your Spirit community on Subscribestar. I couldn't do all this work without the amazing support that I get from all my supporters, and I appreciate you with infinite love and gratitude. If you get a message on social media platforms that look like me, it is not me. I will not ever send you messages on Facebook, Twitter, any of them. I will not. I just don't. I don't have time, first of all. The only messages you will get would be directly from my office email and directly from my website, spiritmanjt.com and josephtittel.com. If you get messages, report them right away, especially if they're trying to con you out of money or gift cards or whatever they do. That is not me, friends. And not even just me. Other people on social media that have a popular following are dealing with the same BS. And Instagram and Facebook especially do absolutely nothing about it. So beware, friends. And let us move on to episode number 110
of Tea Time, baby.
Another quick reminder for all of y'all is last week I did a video on the wildfires and what exactly is happening or potentially could be happening around it. And of course, it's being hidden deep in the shadows where you don't see it. You most certainly didn't get a notification for it. I'm going to put a link that's going to pop up right here showing you that video. Please go check it out. And again, it actually has a percentage of likes, like way more than even the show does every week. And it's only got half the amount of watchers. So it's that good, I would suppose, people are saying. So please do check it out at the link up above. So we have just officially stepped into the 2024 eclipse season, starting with the lunar eclipse that just came in on the full moon this weekend. And soon we are going to step into some serious energies, friends. I mean, it's about to get serious, y'all. Real serious. Serious energies. When April Fool's Day rolls in. Exactly April Fool's Day, actually. That's when we're going to have the next little wave coming in. Except it's not going to be an April Fool's joke. It's going to be real. And as I stated in January, April is going to be the super intense month with world-changing events and a new level of awakening. So what exactly is going to bring this new level of awakening? That is the question. That is the question. It's a combination of events, actually, friends. A combination of events starting with the double eclipse energies, astrological events, And that dreaded Mercury retrograde in Aries, all summoning up those Aries energies, all the planets. We're in the Aries era going into this month and now currently, but moving forward. This full moon also ushered in this smaller, but still the first of two pretty big energy shift waves. Usually we only get one during those retrograde cycles. This time we're getting hit twice. And I think we got hit twice at the end of last year as well. Maybe it was the beginning of this year, last year and the beginning of this year, which is very odd. I've been following these cycles for over 15 years, 20 years probably. So it's a very odd thing to see two energy waves, which always come flowing in usually on the full moon. But Spirit says we had one come in on the full moon that just passed, a smaller one, and they're building up in intensity. It's like these tsunami waves of energy are getting bigger and bigger with each wave. And on April 1st, we have another one of those waves coming in. There's the two major significant ones, of course, would be the one that just came in on the weekend on the 25th full moon, and the one that's coming in on April 8th. But there's a series of waves that are still coming. The two big ones are those two eclipse dates, of course. There's a whole bunch coming in between. And Spirit also says there's other waves that are going to arrive in mid-April, which is interesting. Spirit told us that months ago, if you remember, to expect a super sun flare activity for this year. Breaking records for sun flare activity, which we haven't really seen. We started to see it in the beginning of the year, but it's been pretty quiet. And of course, some type of a world huge event that Spirit's been saying for a while. And not just in the United States, but mainly United States. And this is going to cause what Spirit says to be the next level of awakening for humanity. So it's going to be interesting. Way back when I started putting out predictions more than 15 years ago, I would say consistently, even before I did predictions to friends and all, that it's going to take a really huge, large world event in order to awaken people to the point in which Spirit said all the people will come together in a pure way. How's that? How are people? People are too divided and split. So imagine what could possibly happen besides the energy shifts and the energy waves that do ascend our consciousness. But what world event could happen that would awaken everybody? It would have to be something that affects us all. Part of that would likely be the economy, of course. There's more to it than that. And there's so many more prophecies that are still on the way, right in the wings, ready to come. We're approaching them very, very soon. So could this all be on our doorstep? This whole level? I have no doubt it is. Spirit tells me that there's going to be multiple events globally that awaken humanity more and more, especially between 2025 and 2032. I did a video on that many, many years ago called Tribulation, 2025 to 2032. I'll try to remember and get a link up here for you, but check that out. And Spirit also said the biggest awakenings of all are going to be coming when we reach the end of this current decade. So remember what came through in my channel predictions. If you watch them, especially the ones back in October, November, people will gather in the streets to witness something coming. That's even in the Bible. And I have no doubt this relates to the comet Apophis. If you don't know about that, it's arriving on Friday, April 13th, 2029. I also did a really in-depth video on that. You got to watch that one. It's called Warning, April 13th, 2029. So check that one out. It also aligns with the Bible prophecy where it was Jesus who said signs would appear in the skies, right? So it's coming, the Hopi people. Now people in the United States are all getting ready to gather and gaze into the skies for this rare April 8th eclipse. Signs will appear in the skies. People will look into the skies. So could this be the sign that Jesus was talking about? People gathering together? Is that what the Holy Bible is telling us? I doubt it. I mean, this could definitely be part of that reference, making reference to the same thing, the Hopi prophecy, the Blue Star Kachina prophecy, which is my April 13th video, 2029, talks all about the Hopi Blue Kachina prophecy. And that Blue Kachina prophecy aligns perfectly with what the Bible says about Jesus says there will be signs coming from the skies. So, this coming eclipse is going to ignite, according to Spirit, a series of major sky events. So I'll have a lot of that in my April prediction video. And I will have my April predictions done and out by the end of this week. The goal is Thursday, but I have clients, so latest Friday, but I will definitely have that out always before the first of the month. You're not going to want to miss that. There's always, we talk about the numerology, then we do the astrology, and then we do specific predictions for each and every month. So going back to this, all these signs in the skies, we are definitely in a time of biblical proportion for sure. At the same time, is it a bit of a coincidence with all these world threats and what just happened in Russia? That we remain, it's important that we remain, of course, more mindful now than ever, and especially on April 8th. Crowds of people are going to be gazing into the skies. Therefore, they're going to be paying very little attention to what's going on around them and around them in their surroundings, which definitely makes for a very dangerous situation. Also, with this current energy wave, and more so, those which have yet to arrive that are right on our doorsteps, it's very, very important, friends, to keep yourself totally grounded, connect with nature, get outside. Also, Spirit says, make sure you keep yourselves very hydrated. These energy shifts deplete everything in our bodies, especially moisture, water. So drink, hydrate yourself, keep yourself grounded. Go outside, walk around if you can. If it's warm where you are, bare feet and connect to the earth. Really, really important. Do prayer, ceremony, whatever works for you, but you got to get it. You got to work it. Allow yourself to heal. This is the most important part. Allow yourself to heal because this is a very powerful healing cycle. This healing cycle can help us heal ourselves from any past struggles or traumas. Therefore, you may, if you have past struggles, well, we all have past struggles, right? Traumas. You may notice them coming up. I've noticed over the past week things coming up, different things, weird things, but you'll notice these memories and these things are coming up so that we can focus on them one more time and clear them so that they don't need to come up in a negative manner. That way we can, swim right on through like a swimming champion, friends, like a swimming champion. So this is a powerful, powerful time of letting go. So let's talk about our biblical eclipse season for a moment, which I will do a video specifically on that, which I'll have out by Monday at the latest, maybe even before that, once I get the April predictions done. But we discuss the eclipse season very often, of course. Actually, it appears we discussed this in the world predictions on January 1st, and it appears absolutely everyone is talking about it. Not just psychics, not just me, but everyone's talking about it. Yeah, the folks that do the Christian channels and prophecy channel, everybody's talking about it. So it's a big deal. And being that everybody's talking about it, especially, again, at least here in the United States, I don't know if y'all are talking about it, what country you're in, probably not. Here in the United States, of course, they're making a big deal out of it. Last year, I sat right out front with my friends next door, and we watched that eclipse with our funny-looking glasses on. And it was quite magical. There was no hype about it back then. No hype. But now there's all this hype. Why is there all this hype? We had the eclipse of 2017, which was also a biblical event. No hype there either. Last year, again, I sat outside and there was no hype. It was an amazing eclipse. That was really cool. Very magical day. So we had millions of people. Now coming up, but in the past eclipse, last year actually, we had millions of people flocking to our states. Sedona was packed. People coming out. They wanted to watch the eclipse. So it was the same thing. It's not really any different. What's different is all these scares and all these things that they're putting around it. And I tell you, friends, don't be scared. Be prepared. And I'm going to tell you all how to do that as we move forward. And remember, the 2017 eclipse crossed over 7 cities named Salem, meaning peace. I think Salem's peace. And now the next one's passing over and near. So right next to or right over 7 cities called Nineveh. And if this sounds familiar to you, Nineveh and Salem, peace and repent is their meanings. It comes from the Bible, friends. That might be why it rings a bell. So remember from Spirit, this comes from Spirit, no matter what, no matter where you reside in the world. This is a big event, of course, taking place in the United States. And I don't know if they're gathering at the tip of Canada. It's only going over that one little part of Canada. Mexico and wherever else it goes. But here it's a big deal. And regardless of where you reside or where you live, whether even the eclipse crosses you or not. It's really important to know that whatever takes place in the United States of America is going to have a complete ripple effect on the entire world. And this is one of the many reasons that the psychopath global elite want to destroy our country and our freedom. And Spirit says that in which they will fail. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Flying high again. Airlines, right? They're a mess. And it seems, that over the past 6 months, at least the past 6 months, perhaps a year now, there has been so much discussion, so many predictions that we had revolved around airlines and aeroplanes. I'm going to fly in an aeroplane. So, now the airlines are putting out, of course, an eclipse warning. The airlines. Why are they going to fly into the eclipse? Is it going to open up portals? The FAA issues a warning for air travel disruptions during the total solar eclipse on April 8th. Oh, but it gets better, friends. The Federal Aviation Administration issued a warning on Thursday about potential disruptions in air travel the upcoming eclipse on April 8th. But it gets better, like I said. It's not just April 8th. This is what's weird. The celestial event that crosses over 13 states is anticipated to impact air travel operations before, during, and after eclipse. Before, during, and after? Before and after? That makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. The FAA indicated that the eclipse's effects on U.S. airspace are anticipated between approximately 2:30 and 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. As this time, some 32 million people in North America are expected to witness this rare event, which is anticipated to be the most watched solar eclipse in history. Where's the dates? There's a window of dates. It wasn't just that. It was the April 7th, the day before, to April 10th, which makes no sense as well. And how would that affect it? It didn't affect, airplanes weren't affected the other eclipses, 2017, last year, none of them. Weird. So now people are flying, not just on eclipse day, but from the dates, April 7th to April 10th is what they put. I'm not going to read the whole article to you. You can look it up for yourself. But they put out those whole dates, April 7th to the 10th. So a day before the eclipse, but 3 days following the eclipse? Why would that be? 3 days following the eclipse. Why? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I remind you, this never happened before in history, friends, that I can recall. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but no. Not an eclipse that I watched from Arizona last year, again, or the 2017 eclipse. Yes, Spirit does say there is going to be delays. They will make sure of it. Take these eclipse warnings very serious, is what my Team Spirit guides say. The Holy Spirits take it serious as if it's a Category 5 tornado, Category 5 hurricane, both heading towards you at the same time. That's what Spirit said. Be mindful. Be mindful of your surroundings. Stay away from large crowds of people. Steer clear of sidewalks and roadsides. And watch the eclipse from your own backyard, a friend or a family member's backyard, or not at all. That's the message from Spirit today. So I would take that message very serious. If Spirit says that, then I have no doubt something's happening. Something's coming. I mean, you don't even need to be psychic to figure that one out. It gets better because now we have warnings about power outages and power grids, friends. A warning to Texas. Now, if you've been following me long enough, you're going to know by now that Spirit pointed to the state of Texas and also the state of Florida and what Spirit referred to them as targeted states. Targeted by who exactly? I know someone's going to answer that in the comments. Well, the evildoers, global elite, psychopaths, the royal families, whatever you want to refer to them as, the dark families. There's so many different list names, the cabal, and the list goes on. So whatever you want to refer to them as, that's why they're targeted by them specifically, according to Spirit. And Spirit told us that a couple years ago. And look what's happened since in Texas, right? So if we go back and we rewind a few years ago, remember I warned the state of Texas, and soon after they had that weather storm that came in, caused power outages, and led to several folks freezing to the point of being unalived. Not cool. Not cool at all. This was also followed by the continued invasion of the Texas border, and then the recent wildfires on top of that. Those wildfires unalived more than 100,000 cattle. Another big hit to our food chain, especially to the meat markets. They don't want us eating that. Do you know now, just recently, Jeff Bezos, I have that clip for you. I think I have a clip on that. Jeff Bezos' wife not his wife, I'm sorry. I guess he's getting divorced, like Bill Gates. They're buddies too, him and Billy, and yeah, they're good friends. Jeff and Billy are good friends, and that's why Jeff is following in Billy's footsteps, and he is investing something like $60 million in processed foods. Check this out.
Billion people with healthy, sustainable protein throughout this century. This will need a ton of innovation. We're investing heavily in livestock sector and inventions that will give consumers meat options that are better for the earth. I am thrilled to announce, very excited about this one tonight, $60 million to establish Bezos Centers for Sustainable Protein that will help grow these ideas. Their inventions will make plant-based lab-grown meats cheaper, healthier, and tastier. And these sustainable proteins really are getting better. Trust me, I've had one, and they are getting so good. You can hardly tell the difference now. I really like them.
Do you really think that she actually ate one of those burgers or whatever it was? You believe that? Because she's not a very good actress or a very good liar. Do you think she's even real? Almost looks created by AI, or definitely a really good surgeon, but I think it's all very creepy. Because let's face it, folks, it's processed food. And processed foods are the reason for the obesity problems in places like the United States and so much more. I thought I'd throw that in here somewhere in the middle. I wasn't expecting to put that in here, but you had to see that. And this is just showing, again, the attack that Spirit said after the Lahaina, there was going to be another attack in the United States and elsewhere. Then we saw soon after we had Chile, and now we have Texas. So remember, again, people say, oh, it wasn't caused by the Mountain Dew. And again, watch my wildfire video if you don't know what that's referring to. At the same time, we know it was. And how I know is because Spirit said right before that event happened in Hawaii that there was going to be an attack in Hawaii. And in my visions, I described to you something coming from the skies from a drone or a satellite. And then that happened. I have no doubt. I'm 100%. I don't even need to be convinced. I know deep wholeheartedly. So the whole Texas thing, and now they're being warned of what's coming with this solar eclipse, which is really crazy. They posted warnings in Texas that goes into place. Again, but right before, during, and after the eclipse. So just like the airlines, they're expecting something, and that's what I thought too. Something definitely before and after, not just the day of the eclipse. It's this whole cycle we just entered into on the 25th. So I would expect something again. Remember in my prediction, something big was going to happen on Easter Sunday. Lord, I sure hope not. And probably it'll be related to Israel. But also could relate to over here in this country. Remember my visions of attacks on churches and synagogues and even mosques. Crazy. We are definitely in biblical prophecy times. And some of the prophecies of Nostradamus and that guy, Spiritman JT. You ever watch his stuff? So going back to poor Texas, and this adds to the dozens of warnings and clear signs that our government is sending to us about April 8th. Now also Texas schools will be closing down due to safety issues during the eclipse. And the Texas power grid faces energy plunges during the eclipse. Yes, solar eclipse will see Texas power grid face energy plunge. So they're already telling you they're going to take out the power. It's coming. An upcoming solar eclipse is anticipated to see a significant drop in energy supply to Texas power grid, as a lack of sunlight will see solar generation suddenly and dramatically decline. Is that what they're going to say? Oh, for solar energy, it's going to dramatically decline for that whole few hours. I mean, it's definitely possible. But it didn't happen at the last eclipse last year on the West Coast here in Arizona, and it didn't happen in 2017. But they're telling us it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. So this warning goes out to Texans, and the 100% loss of sunlight is due to take place in Texas from 12:10 p.m. to 3:10 p.m. Central Time. And for those who don't know, Central is an hour different than Eastern Time. Crazy. It just doesn't make sense, friends. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, because we've been talking about this for a few years, about attacks coming to America and so much more. Attack on the power grid. Oh, here, a vision. Spirit reminded me. I didn't put this in my notes for my predictions today. And predictions are always weaved throughout the show. But now I've been trying to make sure I have specific predictions at the end of each show, even though I already just gave you some predictions. I forgot to put this in there, so I'm going to tell you now so I don't forget, as I see an issue with somebody's water. And I talked about water issues in the past, and I'm going to talk about water issues in a little bit, actually. But just so I don't forget this, I'm going to put it out now because Spirit's nudging me. And I see literally trucks of water coming into some city or town. I mean, trucks and trucks of water. Someone's running out of water. And I don't feel like they're running out of water. I feel like somehow or another, their water is tainted. It's either tainted purposely cut off, or diverted, or both. And part of this is the United States. I have no doubt. So I don't know where that's taking place, but I just wanted to get that out there. And again, I would tell you to take these threats that are coming through, especially if you're in Texas, targeted state, take them very, very seriously. And Texas is going to endure a large strain on its infrastructure before, during, and after the eclipse, Spirit says. So even before. So if anything happens before 12:10 or after 3:10, then we know that there's a manipulation or something, because they just said those 3 hours, even though they said before, after, and during. So the day before, the day after, and the day of. Interesting. But Spirit does say they are going to have a major infrastructure issue, and so is New York City. This would also be not just New York City, but a few states. New York popped out strong. And I had a vision in the past of seeing a city go dark, remember? And that was sometime, I think, last year. It might have been longer. Some predictions, it's really interesting. Some things happen 2 to 3 years later. Like in 2017, I had visions of people wearing masks and said there'd be a big outbreak. It didn't happen. It happened 3 years and 3 months later. 3 years and 3 months to the date, actually, that it happened. So some things depends on the system, and I feel like a whole bunch of my predictions that I've been talking about for years are all about to happen at the same time between now and this time next year. It's going to be interesting. And again, that would show us that we're having events that are definitely of biblical proportion. Wild, friends. Wild, 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 wild. It's like the Wild, Wild West. So yeah, friends, take that very, very serious. And now also, not besides New York, city going dark is also going to be Baltimore, Maryland. Speaking of Baltimore, Maryland, you saw what just happened in Baltimore, Maryland, right? With the ferry, the freight ship that conveniently crashed right into the bridge at 1:30 a.m. in the middle of the night. Friends, I have no doubt that that was not an accident. So I'm just telling you, that was not an accident. That was a purposely done thing. And China is behind it, along with Iran. And China and Iran are working together. They think Russia, Spirit says China thinks Russia's in on it, is with them too, but Russia's going to back out on their plan. It's going to be Iran and China. And China, Spirit showed me, as soon as I saw that, and a friend sent me that this morning, I'm like, China totally set that up. Something's going to happen in that area. Now there's no bridge. You're kind of surrounded. And I didn't get time to look at the map to see exactly. What did my buddy say? Here, I'm going to bring up my buddy's message because he would know. What did he say? Oh, I got to remember what he said. Find it. What two bodies did it connect, and is one of them now isolated? That was what he said. I don't have an answer to the question, but he asked me that question with the bridge. What two bodies did it connect, and is one of them isolated now? If it is, friends, and you're in there, you need to get out. Make a plan. Have an escape plan. Have a safe plan. You know, whether it's, a safe room in your basement hidden away where somebody can't find you, just always should have a plan no matter what. Now, the illegals put out a video, and I'm sure you saw it, it went viral, of one of the illegals telling you to go into the United States because there's a law that can make you can go into an empty house and take it over. What did I say in January predictions, which is wild? In January predictions, and I even have video shorts on TikTok and YouTube on this, and even Instagram, that squatters was going to become a major problem. It's already a problem, but Spirit said a major problem. Now we know why. Because they're putting out little ads telling these people to go into empty houses and take them over. The law can't get you out. Let me tell you, if that was my house, I'd get you out. One way or another, I'd get you out. But it's not right. And then look at the lady that was arrested. She went to the house, found people in there, and the guy was able to produce something with his name on it. And I had that with somebody I dated, did that same shady stuff, went and got something mailed to my house to say that they lived there. Gotta watch that. That's all somebody has to do, friends. All they gotta do is get a piece of mail sent to your house, and they can say they live there. And you can't stop them from getting in. It's wrong. Wrong on every level whatsoever. So Spirit does show me that there is an attack already planned, and an attack to critical power grid infrastructure. Some will be caught and stopped before they are able to enact this attack. At the same time, I see 3 attacks happening simultaneously. And I think it's boom, boom. One of them, I think they're going to drive a van right into it and make it go boom. This doesn't all, again, have to be United States. Remember in my channel predictions, and I am going to do a video when I get the chance, I just have not had a chance yet, on the big event that's coming. What myself and others are feeling and putting it all together. Haven't had time. It's the end of the month. I got to get April predictions out first. But keep an eye out for that video. I will be putting that out in an eclipse video as well. Really important. Really good stuff. Besides what we're even covering now or last week in the live. I did a live Q&A actually last week too. So if you missed the live Q&A, I do one once a month to answer any subscriber questions. So go check it out. That was last week. If it doesn't pop up here some point or another, just go directly to my channel. So again, Spirit does say, show me 3 simultaneous attacks on power grids. But it's not just United States that needs to be concerned about this. The United Kingdom, of course, Paris. And the way I see these 3 different ones, I feel like there's 2 here and 1 here. You know what I mean? So, for example, 2 on the East Coast and 1 on the West Coast. Or 2 in the United States, 1 in Paris. Or the other way around. But I feel like 2 and 1. It's already planned. And I think that with the National Guard and everything coming out, it could be coming up. Remember, Spirit said April, hold on tight. I said that last year about April of this year, and we're right around the corner, friends. What else we see? Another series of resignations taking place. A series of resignations. Spirit told us that we were going to witness more and more elite politicians and CEOs dropping out of power in 2024 than ever before. It started last year, I think it was last year, when it was in the predictions and we started to see it happen, and then it's kind of slowed down. But Spirit says this year, more CEOs, more politicians, and more people dropping out of power than ever in history. And this certainly is appearing to be the case right now, if you haven't noticed. We just had the Boeing CEO, David Calhoun, announce that he's going to resign. And I just wonder, I'm sure you might wonder as well, if he's going to show up on a live soon after he retires. Kind of like the whistleblower on Boeing did. Showed up on a live with 2 shots. 2 here. It's not even possible. Everybody knows what happened to that. Everybody knows exactly. Remember, when we go through these awakening cycles, it's opening up your intuition. That's part of the awakening. And the higher you rise up in your consciousness and in vibration, the more vibrant things become, colors become more vibrant. You're more easily connecting to nature. It's been amazing. It's not just going to happen to everybody, though. You have to flow with these energies. You have to ride it like a surfer, these waves. Ride it like a surfer and get better and better at it each time. So Spirit told us again, we're going to witness these losses of power. So we had the Boeing guy. We just seen the resignation of Ireland's prime minister. And even in Vietnam, their president resigned. Hopefully soon, we're going to see Trudeau's resignation come in next. I doubt we will at all be lucky enough to see JB or Macron resign. I don't see that yet happening. Not yet anyway. Spirit said not yet anyway. So there is going to be a change in power in both those places. And Macron is over there in France. So much larger, more shocking drops in power are coming, and we will start to see more of them in the month of April. Not just resignations or impeachments, but some showing up unalived. So one is going to be unalived in a public takeout. I don't know who. Spirit just showed me that today. And I could even relate. I had visions of this in the past. Now, last time I had visions of this, actually, soon after that, prime minister or the previous prime minister of Japan was taken down. So I see something similar to this again happening, being unalived in front of the public's eye. I don't know where. That's all I got, friends. Now, March 22nd. March 22nd was a date in my March predictions to be very, very aware of. And I say the 22 very often. The 11, 22, and 33 are master numbers in numerology. If you have a birthday on the 11th or the 22nd of a month, I'm a 22. Look it up. Master birthday 11 or 22. Google it. If you want to know anything about it, Google it. Don't ask, just Google it. It's not that hard. I just see people all the time in the chat room. How do I do my personal numerology? I have a video on it. Just go to my channel and type in numerology. It'll come up. Or just Google it. There's calculators to do that. So that was one of the dates that came up, May 22nd. And somebody posted it and I forgot to take a clip of it, of all the other big tragedies that happened on the 22nd, specifically March 22nd of all things, going back a few years ago. I forget what they were. I'm sure someone will remind us in the comments of what those dates and tragedies were. We know that the global elite and, their psychopathic circle loves to use dates in numerology and even astrology to pull off events. So that tells me no doubt what happened over there in Russia. Yeah. 22. That they do that on purpose to let you know that it's them. That's why they pick these dates. So we had, you never want to miss an episode of the show, I'm telling you. It's one of the many reasons you don't want to miss an episode is because when you do, predictions can sometimes be like a puzzle. We're putting together a puzzle in which I receive small pieces to that puzzle over time. And then when we get closer to predictions coming more into fruition and prophecies too, coming into fruition, I often receive more information right beforehand. So we all are aware of what happened in Russia. And ISIS-K, I never even heard of them. Have you ever heard of them? We all heard of Isis. She's the goddess of ancient Egypt. But the K on the end, what does that even stand for? I should have looked it up. I don't even know. What's the K even stand for? Somebody tell us in the chat or in the comments. Didn't Donald Trump eliminate them? Didn't he brag about eliminating them? And perhaps he very well did. He probably very well did. They're just going to keep springing up then, friends. Especially when they're supported by, we all know who. Go back to the Obama administration. Look at all the vehicles they drive, all the Toyotas and all the American weapons that they're using. Everything comes from America. Where do you think that all came from? And the money. Yeah, don't kid yourself, friends. There's, again, a big web of darkness that weaves together everything. And that big spider that controls it and all its bigger spiders or littler spiders underneath of it. That's what's going on here. And yes, friends in Moscow, beware, because there is 3 organizations already in place to pull off another big attack. The biggest concern that I see is something more on the level of biological. Not just in Russia, but even during the eclipse time. So be aware again, friends. And that came up somehow in past predictions. I'm not sure how, because I'm just having deja vu. But Spirit shows me that again. And more than 160 people are now unalive due to this horrible, horrible incident. And if you go back to my predictions, I said there was going to be an attack like that, with a T attack in Moscow. 3 more, Spirit says, 3 more. 3 in all, or 3 more. I also just said, just recently, well, actually recently is when I said Moscow. I saw Moscow, and it might have even been last week or the week before. And then it was only within the past 4 to 6 weeks, I'll say 4 to 6 weeks, that I said again that there's going to be an attack at a concert hall or music festival. Remember, I also, and Spirit's reminding me of this, I saw another one happening at an outdoor event, like a big fair, like a state fair, where there's music, but there's other celebrations going on. And I felt like that was likely in the United States. So I don't know if there's any eclipse parties that actually could look like a state fair. And let us know in the comments. Do tell me that in the comments. Because that just poked in my mind. So, I know there's lots of festivals, like lots of people gathering in lots of places. But is there one that would look to me in my visions like a carnival or a fair, a state fair? Let me know, because I think there is. I very strongly think there is. And that could be what I saw in the past if it's popping up. Remember, this is why you watch every week. Sometimes things pop back up in my mind because we're approaching that time. I hope more than anything that I'm completely wrong. The police, the officials love to raid the celebrities lately. They started last year with DT, right? They love to raid the celebrities. Well, it's about time they start going after people like Epstein and Sean P. Diddy Combs. Because what darkness do you believe? What darkness lies deep beneath that layer of Sean Combs? And other celebrity lifestyles, of course. And we certainly know that they are very fond of the little ones. We know that for a fact. And they enjoy, when they get caught up in traffic, they don't mind. They just sit back and relax, if you know what I mean. So now you're certainly aware, I'm sure, at this point, of the accusations and everything else revolved around Sean P. Diddy Combs and the raids that took place on 2 of his homes, one in Florida, and I don't know where the other one is, don't really care either. I just thought it was an important story, mainly for the fact that this makes sense to what Spirit told us. Major celebrity arrests that would be shocking. That's a major celebrity arrest. And I didn't know he was arrested back in January. I didn't know that. And those predictions of celebrity arrests go back to last year. So they weren't just January. But I think I might have even added to it in January. And now we see that. There's lots of them going down. No, baby, they're going down. We're going down now. We're going down. Little Led Zeppelin for you. Yeah, they're going down. Now, I was going to pull some cards on P. Diddy, but I have no interest. I really don't care. I don't follow that. What I do care about is that justice is served, of course. And he's a power mogul, friends. I mean, he is a power mogul in the music industry, bigger than people even realize he is, especially when it comes to the rap community. Big, huge. He has everything and anything to do with the Tupac thing, Spirit just said. He has everything and anything to do with it. Interesting. I would have never thought that. Wasn't he just like really young then? That was making his mark, Spirit says. That was him making his mark. Showing that he was worthy. That was his sacrifice to get into where he is now. Interesting. I just got that now too, Spirits. Spirits just told me that now. Interesting. I find that very, very fascinating. What else you got to tell us about him, Spirits? He's a bad man, Spirit says. He's a bad, bad man. And definitely, I would have never thought this. He's more prone to boys than he is girls. Interesting. Very much more prone. And yeah, he would be in that category of, beaters, wife, switch that around. Interesting. Chances are that he's gonna get off the best he can and keep running as much as he can. I don't know when his birthday is. When is his birthday? Anybody know? Well, it's not like I'm live and you're gonna be able to tell me. And where's that article I had on him? I guess it's not important anyway. Yeah. Oh, here's the FAA issues a warning for air travel disruptions during the eclipse from the 7th to the 10th. Okay. Well, I already told you that, but there's the actual article. Oh, here it is. There's the P. Diddy article. Not that, again, we really care. But hey, you want to know who this guy really is? Check this out. Well, he's a very calm, relaxed, and chill kind of guy, isn't he? Just the kind of guy you want to hang around with? Not. Very angry man. Well, no, that's what happens when you stay in the closet and don't completely come out and be who you really are. Just saying. So what's going to happen with this whole P. Diddy comb thing? Other big breaks will come from it, Spirit just said. Other big breaks will come with it. Which reminds me, remember in the predictions, I said that we were going to see major breaks in the little ones who are all caught up in that little traffic jam on the highway. You know what I mean. Big breaks. And his web is weaved into Epstein Island as well, says Spirit. And there's a new island. There's 2 other islands. One almost identical to Jeffrey's Island. Still being constructed. Where at? Tell us, Spirit, tell us. Also, they're showing me Hawaii is another place. Another place where they will start flocking to. So maybe that's where it's being constructed, somewhere around the Hawaiian Islands. No. Something's there, but not that. Hopefully I'll get more information. Spirit's just giving me this information now. This is why you got to watch every week. Stuff just comes flowing through. That's not in any notes or anything. Speaking of stuff coming through, have you ever heard of the prophecy of the red heifer? I probably should and probably very likely will do a video on this in the near future. But are you aware of this prophecy? I actually wasn't fully aware at all. Like when I delved into it, I was like, oh, I wasn't fully. I somewhat was aware, but not fully aware. I've heard of it, but never delved deeply into the exact details of it. So if you're aware or whether you're not aware of the prophecy of the the red heifer and the future plans of Israel to locate their very rare red heifer, they've been trying there's actually organizations in Israel that are all about, rebuilding the temple. I think one of them's called the Temple something group. Yeah, so there's all these groups that have, for probably hundreds of years maybe, they're waiting to fulfill this prophecy. And the prophecy, long story short, I'm not going to go into all the details again. It would be a full entire video to go into. So the prophecy is that they have to find a very rare red heifer. And they are kind of like the white buffalo story of the natives back in the day. And the white buffalo being born. Wasn't that back in 2012, 2011? So sort of like that, it's a rarity. And this red heifer can't even have one single white hair. Nowhere on its body. It has to be completely red. And again, long story short, when they find the very rare red heifer, it is supposed to be sacrificed, I believe, on the Temple Mount itself. How are they going to do that? Regardless, there's this whole ritual and ceremony that takes place that has to take place before they can rebuild the temple. Interesting. It gets even more interesting. They located 5 heifers in the United States and shipped them all over to Israel. Yep, 5 red heifers. They're smaller, So they have to hold on to them, make sure they don't have any white hairs or anything that pop up, which is probably likely going to happen. Could they actually end up with the one red heifer out of 5? No doubt. No doubt they have it. No doubt they're going to pull this off. This actually will go back to my past visions and things that I said about the Temple Mount and the big bangs that I heard. I saw all the people walking around the cube thing that they do, the Muslim thing. And I was outside the walls. First, I was actually like more up above watching. And I heard loud explosions, and I saw people running and scattering. Even inside the Mecca itself, they were scattering. So, you remember that vision? I definitely shared it with y'all. So when I found out this whole prophecy of the red heifer, and how they already got the red heifer, and they're highly protected, and kept in secret somewhere in Israel, waiting for that time to come. So they have no doubts in planning on doing this. Why do you think that conflict's really going on? Now, again, if you go back to my predictions, you got to go back to my predictions. Prior to this, and actually I just found one yesterday. I should have copied it, about Israel. And I said that there was going to be an attack that was going to occur. And I felt very strongly that it was being orchestrated from inside the country itself as a tactical, as a flag that flies ever so falsely. Not that it was false. That event did happen. It was a tragedy. It's sad. Everything about it's sad and heartbreaking. But what did Spirit say? And then it happened. Including my visions of something happening at a music festival, which was also, and sometimes again, my predictions can weave together into one big thing. That's what I'm working on with my video on the big event and what remote viewers and all are receiving, to try to put my predictions, all different predictions, together as one, because they do piece together like a puzzle, no doubt. So again, going back to the whole red heifer thing, yeah, this is happening, friends. This is Bible time. And they are going to, and they can't build the temple with what's there currently standing. That would just be awful. It would be awful for the Muslim people. It would be awful for the entire world in general. It's just awful. Because it would cause the great conflict that's talked about in prophecy. That's why it's so awful. And the people that would perish due to it. So let's hold in the light and prayers that doesn't happen. And that the red heifer ends up getting white hairs. All 5 of them. That's what we got to hope for. We also have to hope that these water problems get better, because it was probably about 2 to 3 years ago when I issued a list of predictions and prophecy revolved around sacred water and water is life and the water conflicts. And the elite already are trying to strip us from our rights, and even strip us from our rights to grow our own food. They're doing that. They're proposing that. The WEF, they're unbelievable. They're just, again, you want to talk about a madhouse of psychopaths. There you go. That's them right there. In that little building or big building or whatever. And their big Bilderberg meetings and all. It's like they're meeting with Lucifer himself, the devil himself. So the elite, again, they're trying everything to stop you from growing your own food. You are not going to stop me from growing my own food. Just like they're not going to come and take my guns. They're not going to come and take yours. Because if they do, it's going to be a big problem. Grow your own food. Like, that's ridiculous. Did you know in some places, some states in the United States and other countries, it's illegal to gather rainwater? That's so silly. That makes no sense. Why would it be illegal for you to gather rainwater? I do. From 2 gutters, I have a rain thing out front and one out back that fill up with water. And I use it to water my indoor plants, and I use it to water my garden. Now, usually in the summertime, it's dried up because we don't get much rain in the summertime here in Arizona. But it helps, especially my indoor plants love it. They want to stop you from gathering rainwater. That's crazy. And they are already, of course, moving in on our water now. They've been moving in on our food for years with all the attacks on food plants and the processing plant, everything burning down. And we know about that. Again, I did many videos on it in the past. Now they're moving in on our water, friends. And they have ways. Remember what Spirit told us? I just had this memory, because now I see it. That they're stealing the water from underneath. They're like coming from underneath and coming up and stealing water. And we're going to notice because there's going to be a reservoir or a lake, a body of water that is going to go down too fast because they plugged too much water out at once. So we have to keep an eye out for that. And I remember I said that might have been a couple years ago. And if it's a 2 to 3 year prediction coming into fruition, we're moving into that point in time. So friends, this summer, we got to keep an eye on the lakes. If there's a sudden big drop in water that's not normal, then we know where the culprits are. That's what they do. And years ago, the Bush family, baby Bush, and his family bought up the largest water aquifer in the world. I forget where it was. Some tropical place, I believe. I don't recall. But it was years ago. This was back in, I think, 2012. I think I even talked about it back then. Probably on my radio show. It was my radio show back then. We talked about that. And the Bush family buying up all this water, the biggest reservoir on the planet, according to the articles back then. So in a realm of prophecy, remember what Nostradamus said, water would become worth its weight in gold. It's heading in that direction, especially in some places. Not only that, I have done videos, specific video on the prophecies of the Euphrates River and the Euphrates River drying up, unleashing the demons that are bound beneath the Euphrates River. That was a good video too. If you want to know about that, and look for that. I forget what that video is called. I'll look for it and try to get a link up top here for you. But yes, the demons, according to the Bible, that are bound beneath the Euphrates River will be unleashed when the river begins to dry up. And that river began to dry up big time 2 years ago. And this year it's going to get worse, Spirit says. The Middle East will have record-breaking 120 degree weather. That would be Fahrenheit, by the way. So, crazy. Yeah, so that began to come into fruition, the Bible prophecy of the Euphrates back in 2020 and 2021, actually. So it was 4 years ago. I made predictions about the coming conflicts that would be ignited over water rights and the conflict over a dam, which I believe that dam that Spirit shows me is along the Euphrates River, and I think probably with Turkey. And you may also recall my visions a few years ago of seeing people lined up for both food and water, both. Now we are definitely seeing people line up for water, and summertime hasn't even arrived yet. Check this out.
Urban areas with nearly 22 million residents may be mere months away from running out of water. Several factors are affecting the water supply, including poor infrastructure and years of abnormally low rainfall. The city's rain season begins in May, and scientists say water reservoirs may not recover until the summer months. CBS News contributor Enrique Acevedo joins us now. Hi, Enrique. So tell us, what has life been like for some of the people feeling the burden of this water shortage?
Lana, they have to use water pipe trucks to fill up their homes with any sort of bucket or any cylindric artifact that they have at home, so they can store that water. A lot of them have gone days, if not weeks, without running water in their houses. Gyms here in Mexico City and other public parks had to start limiting the number of guests they had, taking showers and using their facilities, because a lot of people were taking advantage of their memberships to use water at those facilities. So I think it's been, there's been water scarcity, water management in the city in a way that we hadn't seen in at least a decade.
So someone asked in the comments for me to, tune in and on the water crisis happening in Mexico City. I was not at all even aware of the water crisis in Mexico City. I know about the water crisis here in between Arizona and the Colorado River and the fights over that, which are going to ignite again this year, but even more so in 2025. 2025 will be the big heat up, actually. It'll be, yes, a very, very hot summer and record-breaking, Spirit says, but next year will be a big heat up, which will be, again, that makes sense, the Spirit's tribulation, 2025 to 2032. So a big heat up is going to bring along massive storms. It'll be interesting to see what 2025 predictions have to say. So this whole thing with Mexico, Spirit says you're going to see this in many cities, and people are going to begin fleeing the cities due to the rapid decline in the ability to access clean water. Mexico City is one of them. They are already beginning to flee, and soon they will flee in larger amounts. Heading out of these cities and to the mountains, the natives, I hope he said that, to go to higher plains, go to the higher mountains, because it will be too hot. It'll become too hot, and you have to go to the higher plains, higher mountains, which would also be where you'd be able to access water in the higher mountains. So, where I live, we have a small community. We share a well, and the well just went dry. And it's just filling up very little by little. And it shouldn't. I mean, we have a creek right behind us, which we can access water from that. That would be a whole process because we don't do it currently. We do have rights to it. So what do you do in a case like that? I get my water, all my drinking water, all the water I cook with, and all the water that goes in my body comes from up the road. There's a natural spring there, and I go and fill up my bottles, which I'm going to do tonight. You still need water for, your toilets and, to shower and so forth. So it's getting real, friends. That's odd. That well's been up there since the 1950s. Now, all of a sudden, and it's 500 feet deep. It is a deep well. That is deep. You can fit lots of people in that one. So, yeah, friends in Mexico City, definitely. And if I were there and I had the ability to, I would start seeking new land now. And when you're seeking new place to go, the most important thing that you should be seeking is a place where, again, that you have safety and you have escape routes in case you need to escape. More importantly, where you have nearby access to water. Any water, could be anything. Just get yourself a darn good water filter. It's better than no water at all, but you need to be near water because people in certain places are going to be fleeing towards bodies of water. And I see water conflicts and water issues again. I said it a little earlier, but I'll repeat it. Spirit's showing it to me again. I see water being trucked into a city area. It reminds me of Flint, Michigan. I think this is coming. This might even be during the eclipse. It wouldn't surprise me. Multiple attacks on the infrastructure. Multiple attacks that are coming. I don't know if it's all related to the eclipse, but the eclipse that just happened on the 25th is igniting this. Heading into the whole month of April. So, and especially even mid-April, there's another energy wave coming at that full moon. A big one. I forget what the full moon is in April. I think it's the 23rd at 4:49 p.m. Pacific time and Arizona time. Oh, let us move on to a few specific predictions. I'm not packing you full predictions today because I have my full April prediction video that I will be releasing before the first of the month, either Thursday or Friday. The goal is Thursday, but I have to do this around clients and, my normal business. So definitely Friday if not. So make sure you set your notifications. And if you don't get a notification, make sure you go directly to my channel and check it out. So Russia is about to claim more land in the UKR as they are planning a very strategic takeover, which for the most part, they will succeed, forcing UKR to retreat, which they, of course, will be resistant to retreat until Zelensky is no longer in power. His reign is coming to a close, and it is very possible the entire conflict ends by late April, early May. Now, if you go back to my world predictions from the beginning of the year, on these platforms, it was put out on the first, January 1st. I do them for my live supporters in mid-December. So go back to those predictions, and I said something, I don't recall exactly, but I did say something about that conflict coming to a close. And, sadly, the United States isn't supporting it anymore because Israel's taking all that money now. Because, Israel's really running everything, when it comes to the United States anyway. They seem to tell United States what to do. How many times did the United States, try to do the ceasefire? And then Yahoo, I told you, bad vibes. And he's from the area I'm from. Well, sort of, Pennsylvania. Bad vibes. He's on a mission that's not for the good of all. That's going to end up igniting the other prophecies that are in the Bible, is what Spirit just said. That's his job. That's what he's here to do. Oh, interesting. Interesting. That's not good, though, for the people of Israel. That's not good for the world. So he should be stopped. The whole thing. Peace, friends. There should be peace. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It doesn't work in my brain. It doesn't function in my system. So another warning goes out to Russia, as Spirit shows me that there are 3 sleeper cells being formed, or that are already formed, just outside of Moscow. They are very small in number, just a few in each group. Russia may luck out, actually, by raiding one of these cells and arresting 3 men and 1 woman in one of these cells, while the other 2 will reap havoc in the near future. This will also ignite Putin even more than ever, bringing about another attack from Russia, but this time into new territory, seeking revenge. So that's what Spirit's told me today. So again, these cells are going to reap havoc in the near future. This is going to ignite Putin more than ever, bringing another attack from Russia into new territory, seeking revenge. Sad. Israel's going to invade Rafah and will find another excuse to do so. This is going to add to the already super sad tragedy that's occurring over there. And I would expect them to make their move within the next week. Right around, or the next eclipse on April 8th, don't even be surprised to see it happen on Easter Sunday. Something's happening. Something. Don't know what. But Spirit says that's coming, and that's going to ignite things on another level, and it's going to pull 2 other countries into the mess. Hopefully not United States. No, not United States. I think Turkey. Actually, Turkey. And I'm not getting the other. Turkey. Israel must fear Turkey, says the Spirits. Thank you, Spirits. You're always so chatty on Tuesdays. Love you guys. I see a major issue igniting with some very, very bad people using what I believe is stolen vehicles as weapons. I believe that New York City is at a huge high risk for such events to take place, including one vehicle that's packed with boom booms. The vehicle with the boom booms, I actually believe, is in Paris, France. I don't think, does that eclipse go over France? I don't think it does. I know it goes over Mexico, so no, I doubt it. I was just curious. Maybe the last one did. We're going to do a video on these eclipses with some important information and predictions revolved around it, so keep an eye out for it. That one probably won't be out until Monday, which is perfect timing right before the eclipse. So this could also, going back to this, using, vehicles that I believe are stolen as weapons. New York City came to me very, very strong, or New York in general, New York, not just New York City, because I think it's upper New York where a lot of people were gathering for the eclipse. Not that this is even at the eclipse, just in April in general, the month of April. So I see some coming events that could very well be taking place in April when it comes to vehicles. And I do remind you, if we go back to my 2024 world predictions, April, August, and October, November were going to be the craziest times of the year. So I know April, we got that retrograde energy shift, double energy shift, we already stepped into. Then we have the same thing going on in August. That retrograde is not in Aries, of course, it's in Virgo. October, November, there's no retrograde, but there's some major stuff going on energetically and astrologically. So crazy, crazy times. Saw something similar to this not long ago, but this is kind of a little different. That Spirit shows me this once again. Likely we are coming in on the reality of this coming into fruition. So in my vision, I saw a dark cloud forming over Washington, D.C. In this vision, I also feel like it becomes a fortress, protect it once again to keep everybody out, like they did the last time, a couple years back, like they do in when they want to have a communist ruler That's what they do. Lock down their palace so none of the peasants can get in. It's exactly what they do. It's definitely what that administration's objective is. They're big friends with Bill Gates and the whole WEF and all of that. So in this vision, again, I see this dark cloud moving in, and it's moving in over Washington, D.C., and it's just like a regular storm, but it gets darker, darker, and darker in my vision, blacker. And then at the same time as these are coming in, I feel like it becomes a fortress around the White House again and around D.C., probably after this storm hits. So I also saw, and again, I did see this a couple years ago and told you that they would do that to the White House again. I saw fires in my vision, likely related to this same vision in D.C., as this dark cloud in my visions forms into this terrible storm with high winds blowing over the fences in my vision. The city ever so dark. I mean, like, you probably couldn't, except for the lightning, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was just so black and dark, and I heard 2 loud cracks of thunder. And first in my vision, I saw a bolt of lightning striking the top of the Capitol building. This was followed by a double, perhaps even a triple bolt of lightning striking the White House. Of course, this needs interpretation, of course. And we have to interpret that. I'm not going to take this as there's literally a big storm, a hurricane tornado storm coming to Washington, D.C. I mean, that's very, very plausible, sure. But I don't think that's what spirits are talking about. This is a big storm hitting the White House. And I said that again in past predictions about some, big things happening with the White House. But in my vision, it was the Capitol building that was hit first with this bolt of lightning, crashing through the top and the glass crashing down as if the lightning struck something. So something's going to strike the Capitol building, I have no doubt. The bolts of lightning to the White House, it was 2, but really a strong potential there were 3 because my vision was so fast, which means definitely there's going to be 2 big strikes that are going to hit the White House, likely 3 in all. Because I saw boom, boom, and then I felt like there was a third one that came right after, but my vision came to a close. So 2 in a row. So we got to keep our eye on the Capitol building because something's going to break there. Something's happening. I told you they want more than anything to destroy that. Those that built it, the sickos, the psychopaths, who are behind the whole thing, want to destroy what like they did to the Georgia Guidestones, which I said was going to happen. The Georgia Guidestones will be destroyed, I said, in my predictions. And it happened a month later. That was just how that story got real quiet, real fast. They knocked it down. Yeah, they knocked down the evidence of their goal. So you can't prosecute them if you don't have evidence, right? To prove what they were trying to do or are trying to do. So DC. Now I also see a vision of a large boom boom taking place in what appears to be some type of a theater. And I feel that these explosives ignite earlier than expected. Like there's a mistake and they go off earlier. I'm guessing it's a mistake. I mean, because it felt to me that could be a good thing that it goes off sooner, meaning that there's nobody, it's not a packed theater. Maybe nobody in the theater at all, hopefully. That's what we can hold in the light. And I feel like there's going to be multiple attacks, I guess we could say, on some type of theaters. One being a movie theater, the other being some kind of music theater or a show, kind of like Broadway, for example. And I feel these multiple things, the places that are at high risk that this is going to occur, more likely is New York City, of course. Maybe even Los Angeles, California popped in my mind. Paris, France, Russia, and the United Kingdom. So friends in the UK, beware. Beware. I saw a building being set on fire, and I saw this before, so I'm expecting this is coming really, really soon. It's a big building, and I see this cray-cray person going along with this can of what appears to be gasoline, and I saw people running out of the building before he strikes the match. I'm pretty sure that this is in New York City, but that came up again today. And now I want to address a couple subscriber comments. Somebody said, here's something weird. DT had on a hat that had on the side of it the number 45 and the number 47 separated. And if we add the 45, we got the 9. If we add the 47, we have 11, 9/11. Again, there's the 11 in the 9/11. What's that mean? Well, the 45 and 47 on the side of his hat is the number president. He was the 45th president and plans on being the 47th president. That's what it's all about. It wouldn't surprise me that there's something symbolic in that as well, 9/11. Not that he put it there. Not that he even knows what he put there. But, the more I think about it, again, it's nothing symbolic, but maybe there is. 9/11. Remember what the book, The Last President? Barron Trump's Marvelous Adventures? I did a video on that years and years ago. I don't even know. It's probably still on my YT page somewhere. Years ago, about those books written in 1897 and 1902, I believe were the 2 years, really indicating that that person could be the last president. 9/11, right? Could be. But there's nothing other than that. I don't feel like it's meant to mean anything other than him being the 45th and 47th president. Somebody in the comments, we were talking about where smart cities could go, where it could be potential targets. Because it seems that where some of these wildfires were, there were applications put in for smart cities. So someone put this on the comments on Florida Politics website. There are 6 Florida cities that have applied to the Smart City Challenge. And they are Tampa, Tallahassee, Miami, Orlando, St. Petersburg, and Jacksonville. So we were just thinking of places that could be targeted, kind of like Lahaina or Texas or whatever. Going back to my wildfire video. And I did ask y'all, does anybody know where they applied? Who applied? So it's not the city I thought it was, a big target, which again, when you watch my wildfire video, you'll know the city that I felt could be a big target. And there was specific reasons and evidence as to why. So check that video out. But thank you, whoever. I forgot to put the people's names in these comments, except for this one. John D said this. I thought this was really interesting. Hi, JT. I was just reading Revelations in the Bible's King James Version, Revelation 6-16, which says, and I thought this was really interesting, the kings and the great men and rich men and free men shall hide in the mountains, and shall ask the mountains and the rocks to fall upon them and cover them, so they shall not be judged by the Lamb. And he says, John says, I love reading the prophecies in the Bible, and I wonder if this is about underground bunkers, etc., being built by the elites. Oh, John, 100%. I can't believe I didn't catch that before. I've read that prophecy a million times, and I never, ever actually thought about that. So the kings and the great men and the rich men and the free men shall hide in the mountains, and shall ask the mountains and the rocks to fall on them and cover them, so they will not be judged by the Lamb. 100% they're underground bunkers. It's exactly what they're doing. They're going into the mountains and building underground bunkers under the earth. 100%. That's wild, John. Thank you for pointing that out. I got to remember that. Revelation 6:16. So, friends, again, keep an eye out this week. I got potentially 2 videos that hopefully will be out by the end of the week. One of them definitely will, and that's April predictions. You're not going to want to miss April predictions. For so far this year, they will be the most important prediction video of the year so far. April, you're not going to want to miss it. I want to thank all of you for your love and support and tell you how wonderful you look today. Even though I can't see you, you still look amazing. Keep spreading your amazingness. Remember to visit my website, josephtittel.com or spiritmanjt.com. And again, sign up for the free newsletter, and all of the stuff is down below in the description. And I thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and all my supporters and members of this tribe that we all vibe. I am grateful with infinite love and gratitude. And those who put through Chat Cash, thank you so much. And remember, you can follow me on other platforms as well. Until the next time, beautiful friends, remember, celebrate life, celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And most importantly, be bold, be true, be kind, be you, because you are amazing. Get out there and rock out your amazingness, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste And much love, friends. Much love.